All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is me. I'm Gabriel. With me is Jairo.
I am Jairo. This is the first of many of what? Of
All right. Well, don't give him a number to
too
expect.
much.
Okay.
Okay.
This might be the only one of the year.
This is a rarity.
We're
This is a
this is gonna be a year-round news update. Okay. You watch one episode in January, you'll know exactly what to expect
let's
in
make it topical
November.
by calling it a non-fungible podcast. How about that, huh?
Ooh, yucky.
Someone's out there already doing it too.
Non-fungible. This asshole. Jeez. Damn. It's been the last time we recorded was what, 2018? It was a long time ago. 2017, 2018.
Like properly
Yeah,
most
when we
more
sat
than.
down, I think we recorded Wolfenstein, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, the deal was it the entirety of the series or was it
Yeah, we did all the
okay.
Wolfenstein series, which is still not up, which is kind of an indicator of how busy we have been. So, Hara, what have you been up to since 2017? Not that they would know because everything's going to be uploaded at like once, but what have you been up to more or
If
less?
I could steamroll quickly to say career change, academic change, personal changes, and yeah, that sums it up.
Well, forgot the pandemic, but that's okay.
Yeah,
We get
hey,
it. You're very
desensitized because
privileged. You're very privileged. I get it. For you, it's just like life is normal. But for the rest of us poor folk, uh, we had to go through a pandemic, and a lot of people lost their jobs, and people are getting sick and all that. But I guess that's okay for you. Life has not changed besides the career change. I understand.
clearly you went through the same thing, but let's not, because then you're probably gonna be like the heroic
Um,
savior because your line of work deals with defending. You're gonna be like it defends against.
that is true in a way. Not really for me personally, but
No, you're gonna go hand to hand combat with with the virus. What are you talking about?
And so 2017, 2018, I was still working at the restaurant. Career change. I'm now in the medical field. Currently going to nursing school, which is why maybe you guys haven't really seen any. Hairo's been super busy finishing up with his stuff, and I started nursing school recently. I had two tries at it. Went to one school, didn't like it. Now I'm at another school, and I'm about to start term 3 of 5, which is awesome. But
Right,
hopefully that explains why we've been so busy, and we haven't
right.
really edited anything. We just kind of stream from time to time, if that. There's no regular schedule for anything. Besides that, just that's probably been the biggest change, and that's probably the reason why I've been super busy, along with a bunch of other really personal stuff,
Mhm.
especially that was just stuff that happened because of the
Yeah.
pandemic, and it just wasn't just a lot of crazy stuff has happened. So
While still trying to maintain like a little inkling of creative juices, and hopefully this avenue can be.
yeah,
It'll serve that. It will serve
yeah,
that.
an hour of us talking nonsense. So I would like to give you guys a warning right now that we don't know anything about anything. Hiro and I are not filmmakers. We are not game developers,
We're not
and
journalists.
we're not journalists, and we're not philosophers. And yet, we're going to be talking about video games, movies, life, and news. So I hope you guys are hyped for that because it's just going to be a bunch of bullshit and opinions. So if anything, always just do your own research and develop your own opinions. But that is the only warning I'll give for today regarding that because it's
Precisely.
pretty obvious.
Don't read
So,
into my credentials. Leave them alone, please.
but man, we've done a lot like in the past 4 years now, 5 years technically, because it's 2022.
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh yeah, I should say the date, huh? Today, the date for this podcast is January 2022. So just so everybody knows, specifically January 23rd. But since we're
Yeah.
only doing one a month, January
Hmm.
2022. But we've done a lot, dude. Like I think,
I feel like it's like a, how do you call it? Almost like a transformation, like a metamorphosis for both of us, I would say, from where we were back then to where we are right now.
yeah, I'd say that definitely changed a lot in personality wise, and we've grown a lot. We've had a crazy, stupid amount of experiences, and
Yeah.
definitely, I feel like the pandemic has changed us both for the better and the worse. I think.
It's interesting how it's hand in hand, right? Like not only on like a very personal level, but as well as everything around us things that we like digest, everything that we encompass in our lives, all these creative mediums, like the film, due to the pandemic, the film industry changed, the gaming industry changed. The whole world basically has adopted these new extreme forms of I don't how would I call, like, presentations, even like these
They
new
adapted essentially. They adapted to the
yeah,
pandemic. Yeah, because like who the fuck would have thought? Like we had Netflix in 2017, but who would have ever imagined that? Like in 20 was it 2020 when
yeah,
HBO
early.
Max launched, or no 2021 I guess because this was past last year.
Hmm.
Who would have
Was
thought
it?
that HBO Max and WB would have been like, oh, the movies are gonna come out in
Yeah.
on streaming service. I'm sure HBO Max started in 2020, but in 2021 they're like, all the new movies that we release in theaters will also be on a streaming service. Like,
Is
who
that
would
the
have thought
motto?
that?
Is that something they're still continuing? Like, is that still like?
Nah, no, that was it. So I
Oh,
think The
okay.
Matrix is the last movie for December 2021. But it's kind of nuts that you would never think that like Netflix, like, oh yeah, you see a few movies and they release them hand in hand with the theaters, but you never like you want to see a big movie,
Mhm.
like uh Disney Plus had Black Widow come out at the same time. HBO Max had The Matrix and it had the Suicide Squad. Um, Hulu has had something that I can't remember at the tip of my tongue. But back then, you want to watch a big movie, you would go
Y-
watch it in
Right.
theaters. You have to get your ass up, go to the movie theater, pay whatever amount of money, and then go. But now, like, because of the pandemic and so many people getting sick and all that,
Hmm.
they're like, wait, people are staying home. Why not just
Release them side by side.
release them side by side? And, like just, or Disney's charging extra and HBO Max is trying to build its audience, its subscriber base. So it's just nuts that like you would never think that in 2017. I don't even think Game Pass was a thing.
That
If
that
it
was
was,
more.
if it was, it was like in its super early stages. It was maybe
Yeah,
like just a cloud or something.
yeah, because I want to say Games with Gold, which is the equivalent of PS Plus.
PlayStation Plus, yeah.
Games with Gold was the whole you get these titles for free, but I suppose once Game Pass started to like churn out, they realized, you know what, all these games that we're giving out for free, why don't we just integrate it slowly into this new? It's not a streaming service, but the whole.
It's like a new gaming ecosystem at this point.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I believe you can stream if you have like I don't know what type of integration xCloud is. I'm not familiar with what xCloud is or what it does, but I think there is a streaming component to it. But yeah, so yeah, it is. You're right.
I
It's a
think the
whole
xCloud
new.
is just their version of PS Remote Play. You have to connect it to the
Oh, that's
console,
right. That's
and
right.
then you just play it on your phone, tablet, computer, etc. So I think that's all it is. But I think that's what we had back then, and now we have like you were saying, where like all these things have adapted to the world around us, and now we have Games Pass, which is another subscriber service, which whatever. But it's kind of neat that like for only a certain amount of money, I guess that like you can play like its massive library at home,
Mhm.
and I don't know the logistics of it because I do not have it,
Right.
but I feel like that is also probably a better deal for consumers just because, a lot of people unfortunately lost their jobs or they did this career shift or something
Yeah.
happened to the point where like they weren't making the money that they could, or not even that. It could also just be like I feel like it was supply issues, and I think it's also kind of neat. Like again, like HBO Max was like, well, I don't give a shit how artistic you are, Mr. Nolan or Denis Villeneuve. We're gonna release our movies at home, and so I
Yeah.
think it's kind of cool that Xbox is like they presented an option for people that just don't have that money, or
Yeah.
they don't have like GameStops around us are closing too, right? The
It's
one that we used to
still.
go to for Max Payne is like that place has been
Yeah.
gone for like a long time now.
Yeah. That's the whole games. Even though, funny enough, during this whole pandemic era that we've been in the past that we're currently going through in these past 2 years, even though GameStop kind of had like an influx of what do you want to call it, mild success with the whole stock, that's a whole thing in and of itself, where GameStop kind of blew up for a second. But when it comes to like brick and mortar stores, yeah, it's sort of still been fluctuating regarding like all these shutdowns, all these stores closing down. Yeah.
People getting sick, there's not enough people to work
Hmm.
and all that. So it's also kind of neat that Xbox kind of has this avenue of like, hey, just pay a certain amount of money and here's all the games you want. If you want to buy them, you can buy them after you try them, right? Because like you can actually purchase the game afterwards, right? Like
Hopefully,
if you really really want it and you like, oh, I
yeah.
don't want to pay for Games Pass anymore, I can just buy the game now. So I
not
think
only
it's
that,
a nice way for demos.
yeah, because not only that, uh, there's a shelf life to these games being on Game Pass. So if you truly fell in love with something, and you see yourself playing it like multiple times after the fact, after your initial playthrough, yeah, I'm sure it is wise, or it is a very valuable option to purchase it right then and there. I wonder, I don't know if it's like a word of mouth type of thing where whether it's true or not. I wonder and hope if there is like a discount if you played it through Game Pass. Is that too far fetched to like hope for?
Yeah, because you're already paying what is it, like
15, 15
15 a
bucks?
month?
Yeah.
You're paying 15 a month already, and then another discount on top of that. I don't think so. I don't see that happening anytime soon.
You're
But
right, because the cherry on top regarding having the accessibility to this huge like library of games is that you have the added benefit of day one games, meaning let's say the new Gears of War comes out next month. A lot of for every Game Pass user, they'll have access to that new game day one. So you're probably right in regards to you know what, maybe a discount is not so much necessary.
yeah, and it's kind of cool to see that it's kind of spurning up
On the Sony side of things,
on
or
the Sony side of things. I don't know. I forgot what it was called. Project Scorpio was what the Xbox. It was like some weird, stupid, crazy name.
maybe I
But
can look into that as you kind of describe what they're trying to do on their end.
I mean, it's you have like 30 seconds because it's literally the exact same thing as Game Pass. From what I hear, you pay a certain amount of money and then you could just stream all these
Oh,
games
I
from
found it. Are you ready
the
for the name? What was
PlayStation.
your
What's
guess?
I don't know. I don't know. I know Scorpio is the Xbox, but it was something really dumb,
This, this. Okay, they're like.
Blackfall or something.
Hold on. Those are pretty good, by the way. It's PlayStation's Project Spartacus.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know. I like Blackfall a little bit better.
Blackfall.
Project Blackfall. Yeah, so it's kind of cool that PlayStation. It's kind of spreading up a little bit of competition, which is always good. It's always good for us
Mm.
because you know it's kind of nuts that
Variety is always
just
good.
recently Netflix raised its price, and then on the flip
Right.
side of things, HBO Max lowered it.
That I did not notice. When was that, around the same time frame?
Yeah, it was this past month.
Oh wow,
They lowered it
that's
a little bit. I don't know if it was because there's like three tiers for HBO Max now. I think. Not that I
that's
ever
right. Yeah,
noticed. I only got I got
one's
the
an ad
original
based. Yeah.
$15 a month, so I don't even know if mine got affected. But kind of neat that like even competition like that is like good because HBO Max is like wow these people aren't. I don't know if these people are gonna pay $20 a month for Netflix. So hey, come over here. It's cheaper over here. Our app is broken on most systems, but um, yeah. So it is cool that PlayStation's coming out with it. And you said I still haven't looked it up because I typed in what PS3 and I don't know what it was, but
Right.
you said like what was it that you were saying that they're going to be doing backwards compatibility or something?
That one's still like on the more wishful thinking, like kind on the side when it comes to Project Spartacus, if that's what they're going at, because the only hint or inkling towards like the whole backwards compatibility is I don't know if you ever got to explore it yourself on the PSN store. If you currently
No.
go on it right now, if for those who have a PlayStation 5, the most available console ever, right? If you have the fortunate, you know, capability of hopping on the PSN store right now, perhaps it works on PS4, you know,
Mhm.
and you or maybe that's a bad example because of PlayStation Now. But right now on PS5, you could look up PS3 titles and they'll pop up on the store as if you can purchase them. You can select them, their icon appears and everything. It even says it's for the PlayStation 3 platform. They're just not, you just can't click the button buy, or I think you
Interesting.
could only says wish list. Some of them is a double-edged sword, like as in it's a bad example, serves as a bad example, such games as Red Dead Redemption, because that one's available through PlayStation Now. So when you do see it in the store and you can click on it, it does have the option for the subscription service. So some people might be phased by this possible like hint of like redesign infrastructure from the back end of Sony's side of things. So who knows? It could be such a nothing thing, it could be an algorithm thing that, because technically speaking, since the PS3 stores are still up, it's just,
Right.
a general thing rather than like, oh, it's coming, right? Like, no.
Yeah.
So who knows? That was more wishful thinking. So that one we don't know how it'll work. Would it be purely digital? Are they really gonna go, above and beyond and make, even the physical games work? So there's a lot of impossible ambitions. So we'll see when they even remotely announce anything.
Which just, I mean, it's cool and all, but it kind of reminds me of the whole bullshit thing that I have a PlayStation. I have a Sony ecosystem, just so everybody knows. Like, it's just, I grew up with the PlayStation 1, 2. I have the 3 in storage. I just let, I just gave the 4 Pro to my dad, and I have a PlayStation 5 right next to my Mac right now. And let
Right.
me tell you, I think it is the dumbest fucking thing that I've ever heard. That Sony's like, you know what? People really want PS5s. Let's make some more PS4s. Come on, guys. We
Oh,
were,
okay.
I think
Okay.
it's the dumbest thing in the fucking world that like the the demand is to the PlayStation 5. I think like they're trying to expand people to get into the PlayStation video game ecosystem. So like Spider-Man, God of War, all that. Like, like they're not already on PC for some of them. But like they really want people to get into the PlayStation ecosystem. This is from what I read. I read this article like 3-4 weeks ago, whatever. Um, they really want people to get into the ecosystem, so they're gonna try to produce more PlayStation 4s to keep people in that ecosystem. And I feel like that's just a wrong move. It just feels
Correct.
dumb
It's a waste of resources, basically.
because if you were interested in the PS4 games that are currently like the big hits on
Yeah.
PS5,
Hmm.
such as Spider-Man Horizon, uh,
Sorry, you make
God
it
of
sound like
War,
one game. Do you want to play Spider-Man Horizon?
oh, Spider-Man Horizon, Spider-Man God of War,
Or yeah, Spider-Man.
um,
Right, but these like heavy
Little
hitters,
Big
right?
Planet, I think. But like, anyways, like all these games, like if you were interested in them, there was at least, I mean, the PlayStation 4 Pro was or 4 was around for what, like almost 10 years now, kind of,
Yeah,
sort of.
yeah,
Or
and
at
it
least 5, at least 5 years. I feel like in those 5 years, there was enough PlayStation 4s. You got into that ecosystem. I mean, I don't think anyone that's like, I really want a PS5, but I guess I'll have to get a PS4. Like, you either already have one or you're just like, I'm just gonna wait for a PS5. Like,
yeah,
that doesn't make sense to me to make more PS4s. I just think that's like, I just don't know what they're trying to get out there. I
right,
understand the reasoning. You want more
yeah,
people in the ecosystem. I get that.
yeah,
But how how does that even work?
right. Which I kind of want to backtrack to what I said moments ago while mentioning the whole like wasting resources. I want to make clear that like neither of us are like engineers. We don't know how like any of this stuff works per se.
Speak for
But
yourself. I'm the CEO of Intel.
that you didn't buy your piece, how you built it. That's true.
I pounded sand with a hammer and I got an Intel chip.
Because the whole conversation's been the whole scarcity. Not only it's been primarily due to the whole like lack of resources, right?
Yeah, there's a
That's
chip shortage.
exactly. So you mean to tell me like it's not like a one specific thing. You mean to tell me if you can't build this machine, you mean that you suddenly can build this one? Like you can or perhaps it's a bad example because
Well, because the PS5 has a different kind of chip, right?
yeah, precisely
So
that. And considering that the PS4 did gangbusters, right? Like they sold a lot of they moved a
yeah,
lot of units.
and it's been a while, so I feel like they can make more with
There
less.
we go. They probably that not only that, but I'm sure they have those components laying around because they knew it was selling so well. They're going to have those parts more readily available in comparison to the new
Do you
chipsets.
do you think it's also maybe just partly PR? Because like you're gonna be like, there's just no more PlayStations, and then that's their backup to be
It
like, well,
was
we have a lot of PS4s.
right. It was PR, but I feel like they kind of shot themselves in the foot. They should have just said, I don't know who it was. Do you remember when we were getting into the new console generation with the PS4 and the Xbox One? I don't know who it was at the time who was helming Microsoft or the Xbox stuff, where someone mentioned where it was kind of like this controversial thing where someone in the military was kind of informing them, well, right now I'm sort of like have my setup is a three like I
Oh, I
can't
don't have
connect to the
I don't
internet.
have yeah, I don't have an internet connection, so I
There we
can't
go.
verify everything.
The DRM, the whole DR, there we go, the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
DRM thing that's coming back to me. So I don't know who said it, but someone like just kind of like in poor taste said, well, just get a 360 or stick with
Yeah,
the
yeah, it was
360.
just some white guy. I remember. I just watched the YouTube video where they referred to that jokingly. Yeah, some white
S-
guy, some
So,
old or some young or old or some white dude was
mhm,
just like, well, we have an Xbox for everyone. For the people who don't have internet, there's the Xbox 360 or something like that.
mhm.
Which is like, all right, well, that means nothing. I want the new one. Why do I have to connect to the internet for
Right.
to play a video game console?
So for me, when I view this situation with Sony, them having to announce the whole rampant like increase of production of PS4s, it was PR, but this, like I said, they sort of shot themselves in the foot. They shouldn't have made emphasis because towards like a casual consumer, when they hear we're gonna make more of this, doesn't it sound like they're prioritizing it over the new one, the one they prefer?
A
So
little
it's
bit, yeah,
right. So they should have said like something more a little bit like comforting. I wouldn't know precisely how to word it, but something a little bit more,
or
like
just say the one thing. We're gonna be making more PlayStation 4s. Okay, don't even mention the PS5.
right. Don't correlate it, right? Don't correlate it
Yeah,
like make them feel isolated,
Bec-
like
because there isn't enough to go around. We're gonna make more of this other lesser console now.
yeah. But they didn't. They made it. They kind of they. It was a huge dynamic shift where people sort of felt like but I still want that one though. Like, don't make me feel left out, because
Yeah,
that's even worse because it's like a double insult. Because not only are there people like me and you struggle to like obtain hours, so we like
yeah,
it's extremely hard. So not only are there still people every day kind of like striking out, so you mean, but they also have to feel like, hey, so don't worry about it. I know you're struggling, but forget about it. Just you're gonna have this. Like, no, don't
yeah,
feel it. For a consumer, isolation is one of the worst things you can do because we work so hard. It's such a obstacle for a lot of us to obtain these cool
right.
machines.
And that's because we had time. Like I when I got mine, I was still working at the facility, and I had
Right.
time between patients to kind of like, okay, I can open up my phone and you know get
What
in
a
line. When I got that email from PlayStation, like you've been chosen to be like the designated blah 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 or whatever, so you get first in line. I had that time in between patients to be like, okay, all right, I'll just open my phone and hopefully I'll get it. And if I don't, I don't. And same thing for you. You had time in between stuff you were doing where you're just like, okay, I can like sit here for a little bit and actually wait for it, as opposed to a bunch of other people who are like, parents for Christmas. They're like, I have to go to the store and there isn't any here, or people that are just way busier than you and I. Like they don't have that time to sit around, and so yeah, it's just it's been it feels difficult for us. I can't imagine what it's like for other people.
exactly, because I know like even region wise, I'm sure because we're on the west coast side of things
Yeah,
of
we
the
are
U.S.
Southern California, so
So I know things can be extremely different, like on the opposite end of things. So yeah, just don't. You gotta at least give people reassurance.
yeah.
That's it. Like I,
They might have added that. I didn't finish reading that article, but I feel like that's something they might have added. Like we're still focused on the PlayStation 5 production, but I guess when people all they read is headlines these days, like technically I did. I
yeah,
just read a little bit. I didn't read the whole fucking article, but I'm sure they added that in there. But I feel like that should have been more part of that messaging. But
yeah,
but
you're right.
speaking of video games, you just got an Xbox, right?
I have not received it. Um, for me, it's been a journey of without sort of getting into like the nitty gritty of certain logistical reasons as to why I got it. But I'll just leave it as for very personal reasons. I decided to sort of like uplift myself and sort of go towards a Series S
Mm-hmm.
because I thought to myself, well, okay, I mean, me and Gabriel here have always had the conversation since we were kids of like, if in a perfect world, would you own all like all the heavy hitters? Like, yeah, because it's I don't know if you want to make it clear here, Gabe, with the whole what side we tend to stay on. I think it's safe to say we're sort of on the Sony side of things for the most part.
Well, I don't know why you had to call me gay, but yeah, I guess I like PlayStation. Just because I like PlayStation, all of a sudden I'm gay.
said Gabe, but okay.
No, yeah, no. Like I said, we grew up with PlayStation, but we're
Yeah,
very much we've never been the Call of Duty over Battlefield, PlayStation over Xbox. We've
we would
never been over that. We've just been like, hey man, more consoles means more games. Like we've never been little bitches like that.
we never been on the extreme side of things. We know what we
Oh,
liked,
I
and that
almost
was
thought I
it.
said little bitches, but yeah,
you
little
gotta
bitches.
you
But
gotta make sure there's little bitches.
that's
I
the
know
way
what
I
you're
see
talking
it.
about.
That's the way I see it. If you're gonna be a little bitch about video games,
Mhm.
oh, the PlayStation. Oh, what was it? Xbox is dead as soon as PlayStation got something, or then Xbox would buy something and the PlayStation's so dead they'll never
Like,
recover. It's just like, all right,
fine.
dude, like just play the game and shut up.
Then here's the
Not a
thing.
big
Then
deal.
let me go on a quick tangent. Like I'm gonna share a story about Gabriel regarding. He's talking about people who have to like jump the fence so quickly. Okay, everyone remembers the breach of 2011 from Sony, where where PSN was down for a month. I
We
suppose
were
it's
still
a
in high school, and
we,
it's still beyond me that it was only a month. It felt like a year.
it did. And the thing is, Gabriel denies it to this day, but he did go through this withdrawal because I think at this point we sort of knew our way around to like copying online, playing like games like Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto 4, Red Dead
Red Dead
Redemptions.
Redemption. Hmm.
So at this point, we sort of like we knew the shindig. Like we all had the proper, connections to hop online comfortably and play online. It wasn't a foreign thing anymore. So now that it was stripped away from us due to this breach, I remember that month. Yeah, you're right. That month felt like forever. And I think like in the midway point, I, the thing is, Gabriel was also like kind of tired of something. He was like emotionally distraught. I don't remember what it was anymore. I just remember it was like our lunch period and we were hanging out in our usual spot and Gabriel just slouches to the fucking ground on this brick wall. I don't know why he did it to this day. I don't know. I don't remember the context anymore. He's just like tired and I don't know what he was just slouching, just sitting on the ground, leaning up against the wall, and he just looks up at me, like I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he just goes, I think I'm gonna get an Xbox. Like what? Like it was like the biggest news, like heartbreaking news ever. He said it with so much with such like disappointment. Like I have this condition. I need to get an Xbox. And I
Hey man,
asked him,
two
like,
weeks
it's
without video games in high school?
was
Fucking
forever.
nuts. It was forever.
So I asked. So I just went straight out. Like, is it because of the outage? Is it just that bad? Like, yeah. Like I need to like basically like sure it's a first world problem. But like yeah, we just need to play online. So you were you were like
I like how much this story makes me sound like an addict. Just, I need my fix, man.
what sucks is that you were also bothered by something else. I don't or maybe unless it was just a hot day because I just remember you leaned up against the wall standing up and the whole thing. When you slouch up against the wall and you sort of allow
Slide
yourself to
down.
just slide
Yeah.
down. You did that. You're like slide down, and then you weren't talking. You were kind of like just with your eyes closed, just making this gruntled face.
Like a Vietnam veteran, just like it's going. Like my whole life is flashing through my eyes at this moment.
Yeah. So if there was anyone here who kind of had that extreme choosing sides, was probably Gabriel over here when his rights were taken away from him. I mean, I guess I can ask you now, how legitimate did that like did that ever fabricate even remotely like 0.5%? Like did you ever go to a store, go online to check prices? Like
No, I just saved up the dollar I would get for lunch money, and then just or whatever, and
oh really?
that would be like my spending money. That's why I kind of wouldn't eat because I'm like I want to use this money for other stuff. So
So
that's
you
all I
mean to tell
remember.
me
Like I probably just saved money. I was gonna start saving money and just see where that would take me, but eventually it led up to
them coming back
yeah, it came
or
back online within the month because I was a dramatic high schooler, of course, and yeah. But like we still though, even despite that, I don't think we were ever like
no,
one is better than the other.
no, but we would
Never
ask each
attacked other
other.
people.
But we would ask each other like if you could own both of them, would you? Like, yeah, of course,
Always
but
though. Yeah.
Of course, even though we kind of resonate with Sony's consoles, there was always like on our like the way we viewed it was always like, hey, there's this hidden gem or there's this one game, right? Every now and then that sort of pops up on the Xbox side of things. So we always talked about like, yeah, definitely we'd own both because why not, right? Out of whatever you want to call it, contingencies. So yeah, as we stated before, I looked into Series S because I thought to myself, well, I'm still gonna be, you know, PS5 over here, and if I truly think about it, there's nothing I'm truly die hard I want that's over there that's not already over here.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so it made sense to go for the Series S because not only is it readily available, I don't know if I've told you this or I don't know if you've seen it while you've been out and about. Literally
Oh
today
yeah.
and
There's a lot
yesterday.
of them.
Yes, I saw like three of
Yeah.
them behind the glass case at a Target. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Those aren't under as much demand as the PlayStation 5.
I think it's because as we talked about the whole like backwards compatibility, that's a huge, that's a huge like thing to like a huge component to probably want to aim for a Series X
Or
because
holding off on it technically, right? Because like if you can play everything on the PlayStation, or sorry, on the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One,
mhm,
then there's no huge rush to be like, oh, I need to go get Xbox Series X. Oh, it just there's an upscale for 4K for some old games that I have, but
don't quote me, but
or
I think
the
the list
PC as well,
increased.
the PC as well.
Oh, with
Like
the
you can play,
whole.
yeah. Like there's this, like everything is kind of just integrated, and
Mhm.
that's it's just there's almost no reason for you to get a PlayStation 5, whereas a PlayStation 5 has exclusives that you cannot play otherwhere or in other places. And plus the marketing for PS5 was way better than Xbox if I remember. It just seems more hyped. It seems more exclusive. It seemed like the thing to have as opposed to the Xbox where it's just like, hey, yeah, it's here, it's cool and all, but like we're not forgetting all their other generations where it seems like PlayStation was like, well, they were getting ready to shut down the PS3 store, right? Like last
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
So
I think the reveal really helped them out. I don't know if you recall the reveal. I don't know if you ever. I think you were at work, so I don't know if you watched it like in between, like on a break or something. When you since you were discussing the whole, marketing side of things, I feel like that initial reveal exploded the internet because of how extreme that design is. Because I still recall it, like the way the side plates revealed, the the pointy edges, and I'm just like, what am I looking at? Is that like a popped collar? Like, like, what is
right.
this? And then it pans out and it's all white and like interesting. So I feel like that initial impression compared to, not to sound one dimensional here, compared to just a box,
Yeah.
a black box, it's night and day, literally, because you can call it ugly all you want. You can have your opinion, but you gotta like sort of commend them. Like that's pretty freaking different. That is,
Yeah. It looks sleek as I'm looking at it now. It's still very sleek. It's very just very uniquely designed, and I still it's kind of neat that like that feeling of I have a PlayStation 5 still sticks around even after I've had it for about 6 months now.
yeah.
No, not even that. More than that. A little bit more than that.
It doesn't
Right?
feel like it either, too, which
Or
is
was it a year already?
no, it's not a year for sure, because it's barely been a year, barely been a year when it's launched. So since it took you a while to obtain it, so it's definitely not been a year for you.
But whatever. The point is that it still looks cool in that
Oh yeah, dude.
and all that. But anyways, my point originally was asking since you got an Xbox,
Yes.
just to get into like some current news a little bit. How do you feel about Xbox obtaining Activision? Now that you're an owner of the Xbox, how does that make you feel knowing that like you are in this unique position
Yeah.
where you've gotten Call of Duty games on PlayStation. You've played Destiny before on the PlayStation. Oh wait, no,
Mhm.
that's not Activision anymore. That's
I
Bungie.
forgot.
But like,
Bungie
there's
kind
another
of
Activision
deterred.
game too that I can't remember. But like, point is that we played a lot of Activision, and like you said before, we have primarily been PlayStation owners.
Yeah.
How do you feel now that like you're in this unique position? Like it's not unique because there's a lot of people that
No.
own the Xbox, but how
But
do you
as
feel now that
someone,
like that someone that's played all these
there
Activision
we
games
go.
on PlayStation,
Yeah.
all this stuff is now going to be going to the Xbox?
Yeah. Perhaps this might be an unnecessary detail to include, but I feel like it's part of my journey of what you're asking me. The day, the day I finally decided to pull the trigger and just order the system was literally the night before the acquisition was announced. Literally. So when I did it, I'm like, "Ah, should I get it or not?" I'm like, okay, I guess I'll get it. Whatever. If this is any time to do it, it's right now. So I did it, went to bed, and then I woke up in the morning and I saw the news. Like, huh, okay, that's kind of very appropriate timing of sorts. I mean, is it wrong to name some more personable like reasons to how I feel rather than it being like a whole? Because not
Dealer's
only
choice, man. It's up to you.
okay, immediately there is going to be a very estranged feeling because even before before becoming a remote owner of a Series S, I already kind of felt this whole withdrawal with the other acquisition that happened earlier
Bethesda.
last year. Yeah, with the whole remote possibility, unless it is concrete, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Since they have Bethesda now, so because me fathoming the idea of like, oh shoot, am I not gonna have access to Evil Within 3 if they ever make it? So I already kind of felt it way back then, the whole withdrawal of like, oh man, that sucks. So it is gonna have this weird sensibility of, oh man, I'm used to playing it on here, now I have to switch sides just to try it out. But for me, for the most part, it's more this personable thing of like, I mean, I know you have, you know, a PC that can grant you access, to these Microsoft or Xbox titles, but there is still weird like sensation of because obviously you're not gonna get like a series console for like not anytime soon, right? It's safe to say.
No, no.
So there is this weird sensation of, oh, if they do to randomly decide to make Call of Duty like exclusive, it's gonna feel weird to not be able to play that with you because for me, Call of Duty is more than just an appreciation of a video game series. It's like this bond between me and you of having so much fun. So you mean to tell me I can't have that anymore? So to me, it's more that rather than, oh, I'm playing it on a whole new platform. That's odd. It's more literally things will not be the same anymore.
Yeah, there's a disconnect now because it's not even
There,
like,
yeah.
oh, we'll get to play together.
No, not
That's the
anymore.
first thing I usually think about when I play multiplayer. It's like, oh, like
We could
this
play
seems like
this
this seems like fun that you and I will be able to play together. And yeah, and for people that think that Call of Duty is not going to be fucking, or
exclusive.
people, yeah, that's not it is like you don't
You
spend
think?
that much money to not make it exclusive. That just doesn't make sense to me. That's like what like that's like such a huge money maker for Activision that there's literally no fucking way fathomable unless I don't know, they pull like a Blu-ray situation where like you have to pay the other console or the other
Ah,
company
okay,
like
right.
for them to use it.
Hmm.
I don't know if I don't know how business works, but I don't know if there's a thing where like they'll be like, we'll put Call of Duty on your console, but every transaction, there's gonna be some money coming to Xbox too. And so, but if that isn't the case, it just doesn't make sense to me that you spend that much money to build your own console and then like to build your own console like family, and then like you kind of give it away to the competitor. So there's no
Right.
way like you don't spend that much money for that. That just doesn't make sense to me. You
I
don't
mean,
spend a crazy amount of money on clothes that you're not gonna wear. Like that doesn't make sense to me.
okay, yeah. I mean, you're making, a lot of sense there. It's just wishful thinking that it doesn't happen only because I'll clear up that like and Gabriel can attest to this. I'm not a fan of Call of Duty like as that would it make sense like as an IP. I don't know if that makes sense because if you ask me like certain logistical things about the franchise, like oh, what do you think of the ranking system or like how they did this with this weapon and like the matchmaking, like I don't know any of that. Like I don't know the differences. I don't know the nuances of how things
Nor do
work.
you care though.
No, I don't. I all I care about is like since we were kids, me and Gabriel have had immense fun on Call of Duty. That's all I care about that because if I were to give you a layman, in layman's terms, like a brief, description, to me, Call of Duty's always been that pretty good pick up and play shooter when it comes to online multiplayer.
Yes.
So I just pick it up, we play. I can get some, hits in. For the most part, it's the complete opposite. But for as long as I can remember, when we were kids, me and Gabriel had a lot of fun, a lot of hours, insane amount of, batshit crazy moments. And I'm so happy that when the PS4 is introduced, it has the whole clip recording feature
All right.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
now we can fucking save them because there's so many things that happen now that I'm so happy that I can now look back on them and remember them even more fondly. So the fact that that might be gone, I don't like whatsoever. It might be a very personal reason that's not applicable whatsoever to the masses of sorts. Yeah, that's my own take on the whole. If it is going to remain now exclusive to Microsoft.
Yeah. No, I mean I agree. Like for me, I mean I've always loved Call of Duty. I've been playing it since Modern Warfare came out on the PlayStation 3, that original Modern Warfare.
The one that
Uh
yeah,
Played the stories through all of them. I remember learning about multiplayer super late on the PlayStation 3. I just connected an Ethernet cable out of boredom and I'm like, "Oh, so this is multiplayer
that
online."
must have been magical for you, dude, because that's the one, right? That's the Call of Duty that's just, if it wasn't for the success of that one, I don't think it would be at the position that it is right now. It wouldn't be,
Yeah,
and the
but
fact that
I played through all of them and you're right. Like there's this I, for two reasons I'm going to miss it. Just because, like, for one, I played them all, and I'm one of the few that enjoys playing the story. Because you're right, it is just like a pick up the game, shoot some baddies, enjoy the
yeah,
story. It's not this like, it's not like Yakuza where like there's this huge deep dive of drama where you really have to like pay attention. It's kind of nice to just be able to pick up a game from time to time and just, I'm just gonna do this. And then, uh, as the years went on, and I met Hyro. We started playing multiplayer, and for the same reason, for Grand Theft Auto Online,
if that ever went away.
the multiplayer can be good or bad, but it's always served, like you said, it's always served a good purpose, in the sense of like, hey, you know what, I'm bored, you want to play, we jump on. Well, I'm always asking because Hyro never asked me to play, but I'll ask Hyro like, hey, you want to play real quick? Yeah, all right, cool, I'll get on. Oh no, I'm busy, but I'll be on in a couple minutes. Whatever, we get on, it's like that, like a snap. We're in, we play, and we use the multiplayer as, in a way, we use the multiplayer almost as these mini podcasts that you guys are hearing now, where we just talk, we didn't even pay attention to the game. And I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna miss that more than I'm gonna miss Call of Duty,
Yeah, the camaraderie. Yeah.
because those are such easy games. I mean, we're gonna have other multiplayer games. We'll have GT Online until we're like 80 years old, and
Yeah,
we'll have the potentially free Battlefield 2042 to play. Like that's what we've been playing a lot recently, because after we got Cold War, and that was probably the most fun I've had with you on a Call of Duty, considering all the different modes. We had the zombies, we had the tomahawk throws, we had the
yeah.
multiplayer, the Warzone. Oh, we didn't really play Warzone that much, but we had all these different modes, and that was the most fun we had. And then Vanguard came out. I didn't get that. I didn't really care for it. And then we got Battlefield. So that's not to say that we're not gonna have other games that we can have, we can mess around with.
It's just
But we're
there's a
talking Call.
legacy here, though. There's a legacy.
Yeah,
It's yeah.
but and that's okay. We'll have. But it's weird to be like, that's the thing I'm gonna miss the most, rather than like, you know what, like I really want, because like I never played Crash Bandicoot. I never played Spyro. Guitar Hero is like whatever to me. I mean, I'm not gonna buy a whole console for Guitar Hero. Uh, what other Activision games are there? That's like just the first three I can think of that aren't Call of Duty.
Oh, they also obtained.
Uh,
They also absorbed Blizzard, so I suppose all the upcoming
nah,
new
never
Overwatch,
played
and
it.
then
I played it on my
Diablo.
PC for a little bit, and then I just got over it. I never played Diablo. So all these games for me are like whatever,
Mhm.
but we're gonna have other games, but it is weird to be like, damn, like the one big game that I've spent a lot of money on. I won't lie. I've probably spent at least over what, $500 if you're like $60 a pop, since 2007. think that's when Modern Warfare came out, 2006.
Right.
So I've at least spent over like 500 at this point. And that's not including DLCs, I bet. I don't know. Someone could do the math, but it's weird that like when that news came out, I was less like, man, like why won't PlayStation buy something big? Because for me, I don't like I said, I don't care. I don't care who buys who, as long as you make good games and everyone's enjoying themselves. I don't give a shit. But it
Yeah.
is gonna suck though that we're gonna miss out on that cool like yearly like. Well, again, Hyro doesn't care about Call of Duty. I buy them anyways. So for us, it's just like, does this look like fun? Does this look like we can have a lot of fun together playing
Yeah.
the game? And
Yeah.
either we do or we don't. And then like I'm gonna miss that. Just like fuck it, let's just sit down and play. Because even now, Battlefield has gotten a little bit of a drag where like the matches get super long, and you're just like, okay, I only wanted to play for like 10, 15 minutes, and then you have a match that's like for 45 minutes, and that's great, that's cool. That Battlefield fulfills for me that first-person shooter, batshit crazy. Like just the other day, I recorded a video using that share thing. I don't remember what Hyro and I were talking about. Oh, um, Hiro was talking to me about the last season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Well, I wasn't even paying attention, and then suddenly I get killed, and my body's ass goes up into the air,
Oh, that
and he just
is
and
okay.
Hiro just recorded
Yeah.
and looked up, and that's been our experience with Call of Duty.
Thanks for reminding me because that's yeah, I have that, so that's gonna be great to look back on. I can't wait to look back on it right now.
Well, see, like that's what I'm gonna miss the most. Or like in Call of Duty, there's clips where, Hiro and I are talking about I don't know, like we'll be talking about something crazy personal, like oh, I went out with this person, blah blah blah, or something, and then all of a sudden I make this Donkey Kong noise, or there's even moments where Hiro and I have actually focused on playing the game, and then like out of nowhere, it's just me yelling because Hiro threw a tomahawk at me at like the perfect range. It was like the perfect throw. Like I've never seen a more perfect throw, and both of us lost our shit at it. And it's just little moments like that that I'm definitely gonna miss because we just don't have that. I mean, we have the craziness of GTA, but in terms of first person shooters, Call of Duty has always been basically the number one game of just like
Mhm.
jump in,
I mean, if
talk shit, and then have some crazy moments.
yeah, because I mean, if you want to add more like sentimental value on top of it, that was the very first game we ever played together. I do recall like once we became friends and you were like, okay, what do you play on? Oh, PS3. Like, oh, cool, because you were the first person in a while that you gave me that response. Everyone told me 360. Like, oh, okay, we can't play together, I guess. So once I met you, you're like, oh, PS3. Oh, cool. What do you have? Red Dead Redemption. Well, you read your list, and then when you said World at War, oh, the light bulb turned on. I have that game. Everything else, like everything else you said I didn't have or never heard of, at least yet. But World at War, I have it. So I recall, like, okay, let's exchange PSN usernames. Later that night of, after we come back home, you started texting me, "Are you ready to play?" Like, yeah. You're acting all humble. Just so you know, I'm not that good. and then, and then we hop on and I get annihilated. Because I think we did. I don't know how the matchmaking or the lobby system was back then. I think you can like arrange it where it's just like 1v1. So I think that's how we were playing. I'm not entirely sure.
Maybe, I don't know.
Just to get our bearings on before we transitioned
Oh
over to
yeah,
like
yeah, maybe.
I just I just remember getting
It's been a while.
wrecked. So yeah, but yeah, that was the first one we ever tried. So that's why from then on out, like whenever the new one came around, even though I wasn't invested in it as like as I said as an IP because I don't care as much, but I always just followed Gabriel's route because he kind of dived into it a little bit better than me. He was more knowledgeable. So over the years, whenever it'd be an installment like no one cared for, i.e., Ghosts, I backed off. I just backed away because like okay, like since they know, since I don't really care for Call of Duty as it is. Why would I invest in something?
I
Not
didn't
e-
care for Ghost either, so
yeah,
why would you invest in something
yeah.
that
There
even
we
I
go.
don't care for?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So that's how I followed it for a while because that's how it was. And and again, what makes this the part? Again, we're acting like it is happening, but if it is gonna happen, this is what makes it harder. Cold War was the first one I finally got engaged or hooked on a Call of Duty as a game. Because I recall downloading the beta for it, and I'm just like, oh, I actually like this. I don't recall anymore the details that made me like appreciate it, but it was the first time ever where like I was sort of, caring of like the intricacies of it. and I even told him,
Right.
"Hey, I'm buying." Like I even told Gabriel for the first time, like, "I'm buying this one. This is the one I'm buying. Like I want it." So we didn't know when it was gonna be. Like I told him, like once I can get it, I'm gonna get it. So Gabriel ended up getting it because as he stated moments ago, he tends to obtain the yearly installments of sorts. So when I finally got around to it and I got it, that's what made it all more special because not only was it something I knew on my own, I like this installment. This one's good, and I wanted to. And then the cherry on top of playing it with my best friend was just like amazing. And then Vanguard was a funny blur to me because I don't know if will you allow me to share my perspective of how Vanguard is to me in terms of like the time frame of these shooters?
Yeah, go
Because
for it.
on
I
my
mean, I
side,
streamed it, and it was just like, yeah, all right.
oh, here's the thing. On my side of things, I was a Cold War person because, again, like I just said, it's the one that got my like basically the first Call of Duty game I fell in love with, like on its own as is. But then as Vanguard was coming around, I wasn't sure if I was gonna get it because the whole World War II setting, I was kind of not intrigued anymore because I was more into the more modern stuff because I don't even remember now. I just know I'm kind of the opposite now. You know how some people want the futuristic setting, there's some people who want the World War setting. So for me, I wanted the futuristic setting. So just wasn't entirely sure. I was gonna wait the usual. Gabe was gonna tell me, yeah, it's worth it. We'll have fun together. So launch comes, Gabriel gets it. He's you were liking it a lot, right? Initially, like the when it was launched.
Which one? Sorry, Vanguard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Vanguard.
Yeah, that's all
So
right. Yeah.
yeah, so like okay, that's cool. Like so I go my needle moves to the maybe category. Like
Right.
maybe I'll maybe consider getting it. But then all of a sudden like a sleeper hit. I'm saying sleeper hit for because people will know the notoriety of the game I'm about to bring up. Then the sleeper hit that is Battlefield comes out, and then Gabriel just messages me, or I think we talked about it verbally. Guess what? I love Battlefield more. Like I think I don't like. I don't think I even want to play Vanguard anymore. Like, oh shoot, it's that good. Like, yeah, like you
Yeah.
should play it. So, and I was grateful that Gabriel gets me Battlefield. So for me, Vanguard is like this weird blurb. Like, I have no opinion on it. I'm not gonna say it's bad or anything. Like, it's just interesting that to me, like Vanguard is like this weird gray area. Like it skipped over it. Like went from Cold War to just the newest Battlefield because it's just the way it worked out. So for me, that's how I see that game, and that's how I oversee that experience.
Yeah.
It's-
Sleeper hit, by the way, in a personal regard. That game did
yeah,
not do well at all
yeah,
whatsoever anywhere. But
yeah.
in the personal regard, I loved how batshit crazy it was, and just like the fact that you got XP for anything, and it's just, yeah, sleeper hit in the personal regard. But
Yeah, because if I were to, how like moments ago I shared how you almost broke down and wanted to get an Xbox, but in a more distraught way.
right,
You delivered your news of loving Battlefield in a more like positive outlook. Like, dude, like I think I love Battlefield. It's like finding out you're in love with someone, you know. Oh, dude, it's just like
dude,
it's
I think I
really
love her.
yeah,
I
exactly.
think I love BF.
But more so, perhaps it had to do with the fact that since the time when like the release windows were so close with
Yeah,
Vanguard and the new Battlefield,
yeah.
I
I
th-
bought Vanguard on my birthday, which was like the release night of Vanguard. So, and
so
then Battlefield came out November 16th or 18th, or something. It was like a week or
oh
two later.
yeah,
So
this is
that's why it
all
was so
so
quickly, because my
close.
brother also basically bought it for me that night. So
Yes, yeah. So I could see how you would feel because you you could safely say you hadn't even put your bearings in for that game because
for Vanguard or Battlefield.
yeah, Vanguard
Vanguard,
because
I played enough. I played the story twice, once by myself and my brother. We both shared it, and then he played one mission, I played the other. We kind of went back and
yeah.
forth that night. I streamed the whole game. I played online twice, didn't care for it,
I
and I
suppose
played
more
the.
in
I
the
streamed a lot of the zombies, so I did get.
yeah.
I did give it a go, but it just wasn't for me, like that factor, like Cold of War. I said it again, just like I did
Cold of
last night.
War.
Cold of
Cold of
War,
War.
Cold of War, Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Cold War.
Well, I
So.
mean, for everyone to know, like, it's not Gabriel's first rodeo owning both IPs. Like,
Oh,
you
that's
high.
how I fucking introduced
Yeah,
Hardline to you.
yeah. So, but the fact that like this is the first time ever where like you sort of intentionally put one of them actually to the side
Yeah, I did
over the
delete.
other.
I really did delete Vanguard as soon as I knew, like, wow, I like
Yeah,
Battlefield way more.
yeah. Because for the most part, you've always tend to have a good balance. Because everyone tends to. I hope. Is it safe to say, like, for the most part, everyone knows where like Battlefield's the more like open-endedness of it, and then
Yeah, Call of Duty is
Call.
more way more tight. You know, the
Mhm.
guns right next to you. There's only certain numbers. It's only there's only a certain amount of things, but the Call of Duty thing is more close quarters, small maps. Battlefield,
Yeah.
you have like huge maps, destructible environments. You have vehicles. You have all this other stuff. So yeah. Battlefield's way more just open.
So it was even I kind of noticed it, like, oh wow, interesting. It was that highly of a good impression that you did. Yeah, like you said, you deleted the the game off your console. So
Yeah.
that's that's in a weird way. I added to the whole personable experience to all this because if you even though that's a peculiar experience, if stuff does become exclusive, you won't be able to say you could do that because in the future you only have one choice. Like
Yeah.
we won't even have these funny instances anymore of like, oh, you won't be able to say like Battlefield made me I chose Battlefield over Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So
In the
even
future, I won't really have a choice because Call of Duty will be on Xbox.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'll just be
yeah,
like, I have Battlefield, and that's it. But
you can't do the
speaking of
whole.
which, since we are starting to run out of time, just because we're on the subject of Battlefield, and I liked Hyro's little rant yesterday because he rarely ever rants. Hyro, go ahead and rant about Hardline, what you said yesterday.
Oh, I'm allowed to add your brother's context beforehand?
Yeah,
Okay, so me and Gabriel were playing Battlefield last night, and we were
called
sort of.
Grand Theft Auto. We were playing Grand
Oh,
Theft Auto last night.
did we play first Battlefield and then we
No,
transition? Oh, it's purely
we
that.
played GTA. Yeah,
Oh shoot. Okay, okay,
because
yeah.
we were trying to figure it out again.
Oh, we were about to because I saw your status as
Yeah,
Battlefield and I launched it. Okay. Anyways, yeah, we were playing. He's right. We're doing GTA Online because we're giving it another go as another game of choice to play together online. So we started talking about these shooters, and for some reason, because your history with shooters coincides very closely with your brother, right? That's safe to say.
more or less.
Yeah. So one thing led to another, discussing oh, that how Battlefield right now currently the state of the newest Battlefield. What's it called? 2042 or
Yeah,
2040
yeah, yeah.
is
Or
sort of on.
2044. It doesn't matter.
Well,
Battlefield
it's in the
2040 something.
future. It's in the future. It's sort of on the quote unquote parentheses whatever on the decline right now, right? It's on the decline, and you can maybe put, if you're really that strong opinionated person, would maybe consider that quote unquote a dead game. And Gabriel was sort of like notifying me that like his brother sort of feels that way by saying nobody plays it anymore. And then so that instilled in me like, what do you mean like nobody plays anymore? Nobody plays it. I mean, don't like I mean we played it literally like days ago. So like, what do you mean nobody plays it? What does that mean? Because I don't know why I finally had it up to here when people say that phrase, nobody plays it anymore. What
It's
does
a
that mean?
dead game.
It's
Nobody
a
plays it.
so I said, don't tell me like what's a dead game when until you played a game or beloved Battlefield Hardline.
Uh huh.
Can you explain quickly? Like, I'm actually kind of flustered right now to explain the premise of Hardline. Say it quickly. Describe Hardline because at this point it's such a dead game. I know there's a car that don't even know what it is.
So, like a lot of other people, my brother was like, I just stopped playing Battlefield. It's just a dead game. Nobody plays it anymore. Again, like Hyro said, we literally just played it a day ago, and we got into a lobby like nothing. And then Hyro's like, dude, don't give me that fucking bullshit. Because we played, so we got Hardline originally, and were, I guess, one of the few that really loved that game. We loved the idea of being in the city or the swamp. We fucked around so much.
Yeah.
It was cops and robbers. It was the coolest thing that we really loved our time with it. Okay, and then we did an LP of it, which will be up in about 2080 AD or something by the time I edit it. And then, as always, like something we started doing is that after like either a stream or an LP or anything, we'll jump into the multiplayer to be like, all right, let's see how it is, because we always play an LP or stream a game, usually a little while after the game has premiered or whatever or released. Nobody was on. Oh, and I forgot. In between us playing it for the first time and then that LP, we also were like, let's try it again. Let's see who's
You
on.
would always
Nobody
log
was on.
on.
It would just
Yeah.
you would just be there for like a good hour. Well, not that we would wait an hour, but like we would just sit there and like nobody would join.
Yeah,
And
the
so
writing
when
was on the
people
wall. Yeah.
so when people were just like when people say Battlefield 2040 whatever or any other games like that's a dead game, nobody plays it anymore. You have not seen the shit that we had to deal with in Hardline.
Nope.
When it's just
It's
us
just
two in a lobby and we're just sitting there like, all right, is anybody on?
that's
It's just a
that's
ghost town.
and I'm saying this towards okay, more background context. I when it Gabriel's better experience between playing both Battlefield and Call of Duty. For me, Battlefield is it's been more on the wayside because of the open-endedness. I didn't really care for that, but when Hardline came around and I saw Gabriel play it, there was just and then the whole yeah, you're right, the highest cops robbers is just okay. So when I finally got it and we played it, it was just like hell yeah, this is my jam. So I'm like, this is it. This is the game we're gonna play. And the fact that like it's finally the one, kind of like Cold War. It was finally the first Battlefield that I finally like poured myself in its entirety because it was just that great. But in the fact that it just dwindled down, finally something that I loved inside and out dwindled down to literally nothing, to nothing. And I know you can say because this game tends to go on sale for like $3 on PSN, so
Yeah.
although I can technically buy it someday, re-download it and play the story, but my bias is towards that multiplayer. That
No, the story was kind of garbage, but that multiplayer was a lot of fun.
whew, that the Gabriel can attest that like whenever it's a vehicle moment, well, GTA Online kind of has proven that I've been lucky, but when it comes to vehicles, for the most part, in a lot of games, I should not helm control. But it was Hardline was the first time ever where like me and Gabriel were on equal playing fields in regards to like, oh shit, you got in the behind the wheel first. Okay, let's just go. And we did all
Yeah.
these ridiculous jumps off the ramps and like crashed into people. It was a great time, and it sucks that like
Yeah.
that's the black sheep. That's they're are they gonna revisit that
No,
concept again?
it's
Probably
dead.
not.
Visceral's dead for sure, right? That company.
Uh,
But yeah, it's just yeah. So don't give us no nonsense about this
a
game is
dead
dead.
game.
Nobody
That is
plays it
literally a
anymore.
dead game.
That is literally a dead game. And even we didn't say it's a dead game. We just went, damn, nobody's on.
It's a shame
We
because
weren't going online telling people what a dead game. But you're right. I just realized, yeah, that is the black sheep. Nobody cares about that game. Even my brother, who loves Battlefield games, he was like, I didn't care for Hardline. It's weird, but all right. Well, that's been an hour.
an
So
hour of
an hour of catching up, I guess.
yeah.
We will see you guys hopefully in February of 2022, which is next month. I don't know why I said the year. Makes it sound like it's gonna be another year for another little recording of this. Hopefully I would like to do one in February, but please don't count on it because, like I said, we're extremely busy.
It's a leap year,
Uh,
Alex. I don't know. I'm talking nonsense.
so hopefully we have time to kind of just sit down in February at some point, kind of catch
Yeah.
up again, and we'll record again. But we will see what happens. Jairo, where can they find you at? On Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, our Instagram page.
If you want a more consistent basis of hearing my ramblings or anything I have to say, whether it be me me sharing how my Apple Watch told me to stand up after sitting on the toilet, that could be found over at Twitter at Jairo Robo. So my name's spelled Jairo and then Robo altogether. And then same user for Twitch if you ever want to see me stream games where Gabriel moderates it and insults me because they're games he don't care for. That one I'm trying to conjure up, maybe hopefully a more consistent thing, but I know for me Gabriel's sort of difficult. But that one you can hear more verbal input, so I think those are the two best places in terms of like more roundabout. Yeah.
Yeah, we also have an Instagram.
Man, is it kind of embarrassing that I don't know the name off I believe it should be named after what we're calling this sort of. It's Gabriel and Jairo play. That should be.
Yeah,
It's not and like the at and it's not the and symbol. It's you gotta write it out fully. It's a
yeah. G
mouthful, but a play.
Gabriel and Jairo. Gabriel and Hyro play.
That
Um,
one where you can find it ranges from either my streams, from Gabriel streams, or stuff we played on our personal time. Because as we mentioned throughout this episode, I mean, Gabriel have so many great moments that we're grateful we can capture now. So if something happens on our off time, just click the share button, just save it, and then we get to share it with all of you. So
yeah,
you can see all those clips. Those are great. Right now, Gabriel's been on a roll. So if you want to hear Gabriel either rant, get angry,
yeah.
be upset, be broken. Right now, there's a good slew of Gabriel stuff on there. So
Uh,
you might
yeah,
want to check that out. Yeah.
yeah. You can find me at TheGabrielRam, the Gabriel Ram on Twitter. Just post a bunch of random bullshit too. I'm not anywhere near as clever or funny as Hyro, but it's there. We also have a TikTok
Right.
where we
That's new.
basically we
Yeah.
yeah we just made one for all the clips basically on Instagram. They're on there. It's called Gabriel Hyro Play. It's the same thing, just no and you can follow me on Twitch at what is it? GrizzlyGrabriol. Grizzly Gabriel, because it's
An
named
inside
after
joke,
people who
right?
cannot say my name in Spanish for whatever reason. I don't know why people can't say Gabriel. They say Grabiel, which is just I don't know what that means, but anyways, you can find me on stream there. I'm usually streaming a bunch of random bullshit. Usually at the end of every gameplay, I try to donate some of my personal money to a charity, depending on how many followers I have. That's not donation. That's not people giving me money. It's literally out of my own pocket. So just trying to do something to give back a little bit. Yeah, and I want to try to end every episode with a dedication. So I'd like to dedicate today's episode to Costco's food court. It's not an advertisement. I just $2 for lunch every day after school. Hell yes. Harold, anything you got left to say?
Well, you just gave me this weird inspiration to give my own dedication. I like to dedicate to the original 3 seasons of Arrested Development because I just went through I went through the movie section at a thrift store and I told Gabriel this. I was having this weird like epiphany slash like internal struggle of like, wow, the first 3 seasons of Arrested Development here for like $1 a piece. And I don't know if I told you this, but I almost texted you with that quote unquote dilemma. Like, oh, should I buy them? And then I just said, no, it's on Netflix. And then seasons 4 through 6, if there's even a six, I don't remember anymore. It doesn't really matter. Really tainted the overall series of that show that dearly love. So I'm here to dedicate the godsend that is the original 3 seasons of Arrested Development.
Yes, I can agree with that dedication. All right, everybody. We will see you next time. Later.
See you next time.